been a while. We are just done with the Shravana Masam. Now in the Hindu calendar, this is the time for Shravana means listening. And not just the listening of the ears as we know it. It's the ability to listen as full-bodied presence and awareness, which is actually our true nature, right? As awareness, as consciousness. We're not in the thinking mind, and we're able to really deeply sense. Every cell comes alive. So, at the level of our linear play, when consciousness appears as matter, at this level, at the level of the body, Shravana Masa is the season where things are moving, right, elementally, at such a level that it allows for the deepening of this. Yeah, that was the wisdom of this time, Shravana Masa. So it started around beginning of July, right, and that's of course after the summer solstice. And now, so happy Lions Gate, a little late, but never late. Lions Gate portal, right, that we just crossed 8/8. It's not a date at all, right? As we know, as the feminine mind, these are all seasons, these are all phases, right? It's ritus, as we say. It's time frame. It's the beautiful range or the movement of the feminine beyond concrete dates. Right? So it's the feminine calendar. So we just finished that. So Lionsgate portal energy is alive right now, and the water is rising. And this is how we know more familiar in this context with the Egyptian culture, right, where the Nile rises, the fertility Isis, all of that, and then the feminine as the subtle or the subconscious. It's nature at this point. Again, very important context when we are exploring this at the level of elemental being. Elemental being, when we know that consciousness is playing as Gaia itself, as Mother Earth. Not just Gaia, at the cosmic level, at the element. It's all a dance of elements. So, Shravana month is the time when the waters rise. So that means our ability to sense deeper, to sense that which we truly are at the subtler level is facilitated. So that's why everything is nature. When we are identified as the gross mind, we are identified at the level of this body, the name we are given, all of that condition. Kali Yuga, Dwapar Yuga state of mind, moving to Treta Yuga, really at the paradigm shift. We are invited, that's why. Follow these, right there. So this is beyond rituals and all of that. But there is a relevance to ritual when we understand, because everything arises in context. So when we are identified at the level of the concrete body, that's when this context is relevant. Yeah, when we know that all is consciousness, and of course there's nothing to be said then, it's the non-dual, right? Then rituals are not, practices are not needed, right? So it's important to hold this, because I often get this question as well. So coming back to this, it's beautiful play. It's just consciousness, we can appreciate every context that we, or the I, or the one, that experiences itself in so many forms, as so many stories, as so many living dreams, dimensions within dimensions, layers within layers, cycles within cycles, right? All is a play of time, space, reality. So consciousness is experiencing itself uniquely. Right? We look like we are all living the same world, but the world is an experience that is determined by our vibration, by our level of awareness, right? And the I is consciousness. And that's why the illusion that consciousness consciously really densifies itself. Because it's only through that we can experience the joy of this tangibility, of this physicality, what it means to live as matter, what does it mean to live and share and even probably speak about things that matter, right? As consciousness, nothing matters, nothing is important, because there is there's only one thing that we cannot even speak about. So, anyway, coming back to this, there are so many threads to this, but I want to stay with this, what was coming up. So, CHATURMASA, right, this whole July now, and even beyond that, right, is the time of deep listening. So, yesterday was a very potent full moon, right, Shravana Purnima. You know, it's the time really, and we know the moon phases. This is how the feminine calendar was set up, right? Moon phases, because the body really, we can move with the phases of the moon. We recognize that we are Soma itself. So when we go into the waning cycle, it's kind of an invitation to go inwards, right? And to sense more. So as the waning phase happens. So new moon, that's why, allows for a lot of powerful realizations and insights. And then the waxing phase is till we reach the full moon, right? That was yesterday, is the overflow of that insight which has come. And this is how we at the elemental level, what we say, higher level, beyond personal identity. And that is the identity as Ka, as Ki, as Prana. Right? The dance of prana and the elements itself comes into the fullness of its being. So we can play at that cycles itself. One note here before I jump in case this is one of the videos, first ones that you're watching. Consciousness can explore itself as and at any level, any dimension, any context. So hearing the context and the relevancy is most important. To keep it simple, what you resonate with, just stay with that. Resonance is determined by your Ra, that is your Mani'Pu'RA chakra. That is what consciousness is playing as you, as a unique expression. Okay, so this time is the play of Ra and Va. Va is the SVA'dhisthana, that's the seat of the self. Consciousness playing as this is what I am uniquely appearing as, experiencing as, and that's the feminine, that's waters again. So if we go to the chakra level, this is what the waters are rising. Our SVA'dhisthana is really, really right now moving. And as is the feminine, because she's the subtle, so is the masculine. Consciousness splits itself into two, feminine and masculine, as manifest mind. Right? Consciousness can never be fragmented, all is one. But at the level of appearance, we kind of can experience and can share this as the knowledge of the feminine and the masculine. Two sides of the same coin, Shiva Shakti as we know. So it's important to know which context in. Otherwise, when we get this intellectually, initially I get so many questions, is that becomes a little bit difficult. So, which context? One is when we understand something as a personal identity. Right? Then we are identified as a person. That's when our SVA'dhisthana feminine has fed the Ra, and because the SVA'dhisthana waters is really rippling, consciousness and its experience is distorted. And so the Ra is the light, is our unique light, is its ground as the feminine, is its understanding of only the ripples. So it ripples a lot. That's why we see the personal mind is moving with the world. The world goes to the left, we go to the left. The world goes to the right, we go to the right. We feel out of control, right? We feel powerless. That's how consciousness is experiencing itself, with the illusion of as if giving the power away, because all there is that which we are. So that's the personal mind's experience. And again, not just this part, right? That allows us for us to experience ourselves as a personal being, like as if I'm the body. That allows for a certain experience. A higher context, when consciousness appears as if awakening through and as mind. The second is the elemental play. This is elevated consciousness. When the Va is the Eli. That's why the symbolism for that is the elephant on which Indra sits. Indra is the god of Indras. Indriya is senses, higher perception, higher sensing, right? So when mind awakens to its higher sensing, suddenly that's the subtle body. We awaken to the subtle body, to the Va, where the ripples are now actually calming down. Distortion is less, more light. And now we see more. We sense more. It's not the seeing of the two eyes. It's a deeper sensing. This is the feminine. This is the soul, right? I don't know how I know, but I know, right? And that is enough, and that is relevant, and that is the power of resonance. So the Ra is what determines resonance. Okay, so to keep anything, if you're seeking, if you're looking, if you're searching, trust your resonance, because you are where you are, and that will give you the next path. Yeah, so don't be too concerned. Another thing that often comes up, with all that is being pointed in every video or any kind of knowledge or any way that you're exploring this, see what is relevant for you in that moment, because consciousness is ever changing, as we know, as mind. There is no stagnant I. That's the only play of a personal self, right? So it's constantly changing. So what's important? Be present and sense what is relevant for me. Drop the rest, because you are consciousness. You have everything that you need to know within you. You don't need to ever think that, oh my God, I need to get that because I will miss it. That's an illusion. Yeah. So that's why play is very powerful. Play is the natural expression of mind when it knows its consciousness, and it plays, right? I know, I'm wisdom, it's all coming, like that kind of play. So higher self, elevated, is that. Okay, so resonance is important. As the SVA'dhisthana settles, the Ra radiates even more, higher resonance. And then is the so-called biggest paradigm shift, which is actually the ground of being, which is awareness, which is the non-dual teaching. All these two contexts of the personal and the elevated consciousness, masculine, feminine, stula sharira, right, and sukshma sharira, is the play of the gross and the subtle, subconscious. This always points to the expression of form. We are still appearing and talking about form, whether the form is at the level of chakras, right? Awakening as chakras, awakening as kundalini, awakening as the elemental kundalini, Gaia, cosmos, all that. But it's still visual as a level of matter, we can say. It still exists. The unconscious, that which we are, the true karna, is that which we are as consciousness. That is even beyond that. That's the non-dual. That is the meeting point of the non-dual, one may say. That point, nothing can be said. That's when you actually fall silent. That's when we actually fall silent. So these are the three contexts, okay? Because when we look from one lens, these three contexts can actually sound conflicting. Like it sounds contradicting, which it is not, right? It just depends on which lens we are looking from. So coming back to this, very important. So Shravana, as you can see, is Sha. Sha is the element of fire, which is nothing but, at the physical level, we say fire, we think it's Agni, which is just simply a symbolic reminder of our true nature as consciousness, as mind, the one mind that which we are, which is awareness. It's all about that. That's why in Rig Veda, the first thing starts with Agni. And one of the most powerful words that is used, Rig Veda itself, is Rit, season. Recognize, realize, even at the level of the matter, the season of your life, where you are. Honor that. So it's not about moving too fast forward or saying I'm behind. None of that. When you honor where you are, what season of life you are living as consciousness, everything opens up from there. So Shravana is living that elevated consciousness. You become one as that which is appearing. You're not just, you're looking from the eyes, let's say, or you're even sensing from your whole body, but you're not identifying that with the thought that is running in your head as a personal I. You are actually feeling what is happening as a whole. You're a collective being. You see the collective patterns, right? We see the collective pattern. This is how the personal identity dissolves, awakening as I am my world. I am my world, right? I am cosmic being. And so whatever is happening at the cosmos, this includes not only on the earth, even the planets that are moving. Now the planets and you become one. Constellations and you become one. This is how our rishis, Rishi, as Rita, they lived, as the awareness of the Rita. That is why the Vedas, Vedic astrology, they didn't need a telescope to see what the planets were, where the grahan were. They didn't even call it planets, right? It's the graha. I'll go into that in another video. They sense the movement of consciousness as a current, as a living current. Ka body, Ka and Ra. They heard the sound of Omkara. That is consciousness appearing and dancing as sukshma, fluid. I play, I dance. Shravana, that's why, is considered a celebratory, holy, playful time, because it's after, like, the Vaishaka, again Vishnu, Krishna energy, rain. The feminine brings rain, fluidity. Everything in our atmosphere is fluid and dancing. So this allows for wisdom. She's the Swa, wisdom. And that is the Shravana. Sh is awareness. Ra is your Ra, Manipura is getting activated. Va is your SVA'dhisthana. And Na is basically consciousness that is appearing as form. That's the nature of mind. So in Shravana allows for the body mind to really awaken, know thy true self. Right? And so you can imagine the significance when we say one interpretation. Right? Mind is all about interpretation. So Shravana just ended. So you can see profound when we came into Shravana Purnima in combination with this Lion's Gate portal. They're not different things. They're the same thing, different language, different cultures, different religion, different forms. One thing, one unnameable, that which we are, consciousness. Every religion, every face, every culture is speaking about the one thing in their own way, celebrating the one thing. So Shravana was so profound. Yesterday's full moon, if you want to look at it that way, and the frame right now. So I find myself this morning in this beautiful place, which is the Amitabha Stupa, where Buddha is sitting, and this Buddha's posture. So the form itself is a symbol of the nature of consciousness. So you don't even have to speak for the mind that is able to hear, right, or sense at a deeper level, subtle. That's why they say get silent, get empty. You don't need words. You don't need words. You'll just see something and you'll know. And this is, I think there's a story as well, right? Buddha was that where he just picked up the flower, and a disciple started laughing. Not a word was said. Right? And it's all interpretation. Each one will understand it at that level. That was understood. So when you come here, it's like Buddha is sitting and this Buddha's mudra. So mudra is nothing but mind is mudra. Mudra. The densifying of mind. Neutral mind is mind as a ma. The is densifying, appearing as masculine form. That's what a mudra is. So whether we talk about body mudra, whether we talk about hand mudras, hasta mudras, whether we talk about, so all is a mudra. Our planets that we see is a mudra, radiating Ra. Right? So when we come into mudra, so one mudra that Buddha is sitting in is the one where his hand, the right hand, is on top, it's blessing, and with of course the pointing finger and the thumb to be together as the same. I won't go into that. That has another significance. You can look it up. And then the left one sitting on the lap with a friend here, and she pointed that to me, where the left one was with the hand and the palm is facing upwards like this. Okay, very unique. So it was sitting like this with this, and what that mudra was, and it's kind of called to share that in that sense. The left side of our body is feminine. The right side of our body is masculine. The right side of the body, that's where the left side has the heart. See, our whole consciousness appearing as the body itself is a mudra. Through the body itself we can awaken to, that's why every part is a whole within itself. You don't need to go chase and look anywhere else. If you just sit with your body itself, the way the body is appearing will tell you the nature of how you are as consciousness playing. That is the power of, that was yoga, right? Union. So Left side is the heart. The one heart is the left. That is the source. The heart is the source. She's on the left hand side. So that's why in yoga, right side is the one way one can say the Vedantic the part, and the left side is also called as the left hand path, which is the Tantra. There is much more to this. So the left hand is at the belly. That is where the SVA'dhisthana is. And this revealed itself as her cup, as her womb. You know. So this, when you keep it here, if you want to use this, right? Everything is an interpretation on how you sense into it. You are the mind that gives everything meaning. Always remember that. There's no one way. So when you keep it here at the womb, right, just below the belly button, when you go into a state of absolute silence and trusting, you go in. You are acknowledging your va. You're acknowledging your truest self. You're acknowledging your feminine energy, your feminine self. Because she doesn't scream, you know. She doesn't talk. She doesn't. She's not loud, right? That's the silent voice. That is the inner voice. When we are playing as the Dwapar Yuga, we don't hear her, right? Because we are playing as the condition of the world. We are stuck with that conditioning. Is the voice of the intellectual, and that's part of the play. And when that play is done, we start seeking, or however that might happen for you, and then from that we awaken. So this is the mudra to go in. So when we put the hand here, we're acknowledging left side of the body, the feminine, bringing it to the womb, fingers together, acknowledging that it is the right side that projects, looks outwards. So this is a beautiful dance between integrating the feminine and the masculine. I am the womb, the light that projects itself. So for Buddha, it's like this beautiful way of, that's how it is experienced. It's the beautiful way of pointing to our inner sovereignty, to live and trust the light that which we are, because we are the wisdom that is appearing. There is no inner outside. Both are true. When we stand as this, that does not mean the wisdom is in the body and the personal self. That means to go within allows us to see that the inner and the outer is one. Then we are able to hear even the subtler voice and the wisdom when it is uttered on the outside. We don't get lost in the louder voice. We don't follow. We don't give authority to external. We listen. But the decision and the discernment of what to listen, what to live, there's no following, right, in that sense. What to listen and what to live naturally arises within us. It feels as a rightness. That is why the masculine mind is on the right. Rita, Ratha, is the golden chariot. Mind as a chariot, this is a play, is Rita. It is a rightness. Dharma, karma is all a rightness, that which already is. Every vibration that consciousness is vibrating as will live its karma. It's neutral, will live its dharma. And there is beauty to seeing that. How beautifully consciousness is perfectly playing where it is as what it is. We don't need to pull anybody out. We don't need to even push ourselves. Then this play becomes a joy. What I don't know, I don't know. What I will appear to know, this is for the masculine mind, right? Intellectual mind. What I will appear to know, I will know. But I am divine knowingness. This is the understanding of Veda, Va, SVA'dhisthana. When this feminine, the waters of her become clear, they settle. Then Manipura, the lotus of the Ra, blooms. Even when we are in the world, we are not suffering as the world. We are not struggling as the world. That plays over. The lotus floats above the clear waters, it knows, as a radiant flower. And it gives away its beautiful fragrance, even when, at the level of the body, it's rooted in this world, in the ground. So these mudras can serve as these ways of seeing, right? The right and the left. that which I am on the left, actually what lives in the heart, is what is being projected by the intellectual mind. When our heart, naturally the light of the heart is what we can call as closed, right? At the level of form, so that we can experience ourselves as Kali Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, then that is the projection. That is what we experience ourselves as, the self, as reality and the world. All is simply pure experience that consciousness is having as each of us. And one of the profound reminders can be, that's why the direct path, if we need words. Whether I experience it or not, whether my five senses see it or not, I am. I already am, because there is nothing outside of the amness that I am. That is the sound of Om. That's the reminder of the sound of Om, because at the subtle body we are sound, we are elements. So it's from the heart. As the heart opens, the right side projects. As is the Va, so is the Vara. As the Va settles, the feminine, so the Ra, as the masculine, radiates. Va is the feminine, simply phenomena. To awaken as the feminine is that. This is beyond gender at that level, right? Of course, it appears as that. That is why the feminine at the level of the body, the woman is more intuitive and was in Kali Yuga and Dwapar Yuga honored first, because she's intuitive. Shravana. Right now, Shravana is the time where there's a story about that, also about Samudra Manthana. There's a lot where the Asuras and the Devas, the churning was happening, and Shiva drank all the poison. An invitation to remember our true identityless identity as awareness. Only when we drink the poison of our own play as Kali Yuga and Dwapar Yuga, that's pure acceptance. Only Shiva can do that. That is how it was said in the story, that we live the Satya Yuga, that which we already are. This is the time. We already are that living one mind, one time. Much love to living and celebrating that which we already are, an awakened body, mind, world.